doesn't always happen, and you play more in your deck anyway, so it's just a trade-off with the discard effect, pretty much.
Yeah, but if I see a Typhlo or a Cyndaquil go into the discard, you better believe I am sniping those Cyndaquils and Typhlos like no to that, because I know you don't play. There's no real good recovery, so if they're in the discard, they're there for good. And a Typhlo deck with one Typhlo in the on the field, that's a joke. Let's be honest. A one Typhlo board is dead.
Unless they run 4 of them.
Well, that's a possibility, but
well, yeah, but let's say
running?
that 2 Typhlosions are in the discard pile. If 2 Typhlosions are in the discard pile, my opponent has 1 Typhlosion in play with no Cyndaquil in play, or even if he's got a Cyndaquil in play, you're pretty much gunning down that Typhlosion now. Because you know that there's a very, very good chance that you're going to win the game if that Typhlosion leaves.
Even if that one Typhlosion is just the only Typhlosion, you see 2 Typhlosions from the discard, and there's enough prizes on the board, you just mark that as a win. You can just be like, hey, can you sign this now so we don't have to play? So,
I mean, you definitely start to take advantage of that. Like,
yeah.
My opponent, which has happened before, and I'm sure it'll happen a lot more in testing. My opponent gets a Typhlosion in the discard by accident, or just because he had to. Say he has to Juniper it away, or he just trainings it away. At that point, I know that that's a weak spot in the deck. It has to be. I mean, it's inevitably going to be a weak spot in the deck. That's one less Typhlosion that he's going to have in play.
Mm-hmm.
If he wants to attack with it, now he's going to have to be super careful about it. And if he doesn't want to attack with it, then I can reversal it up or something, and hopefully one-shot it or two-shot it if it doesn't have enough energy surgery, or double gust it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think if you're focusing for consistency for a Typhlo and you run Juniper, then it's kind of like, well, I'm just going to accept some games. I just have to discard Typhlo and hope for the best. And I think if you're going for a 15, 16 round tournament, the Nationals is, and you're trying to win, guess what? Maybe a good chunk of those games you're going to have Typhlo in the discard. Tough shit.
All right. Well, we've been mentioning Stage 2 decks a lot, and we've been mentioning Emboar and Typhlosion a lot. But is there any other Stage 2 deck that might be viable? Aside from Typhlosion and Emboar? Maybe Feraligatr, Tyranitar, Samurott?
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple other Stage 2 cards, like Samurott's been getting a decent amount of talk, I feel. It just has, because fire is so prevalent, Samurott's a water guy. They also got Feraligatr, like you said, to put water energies into play. Maybe pair them together or pair Feraligatr with Blastoise. But I mean, you look at the consistency that just pairs so well with the fire decks. Magnezone and Emboar pair very well. Ninetales is fire, so it's just, there's not as consistent as the fire decks, I feel.
Do you feel like, I personally feel like you can throw a Magnezone into a deck like Samurott, where you're using a lot of color energy to attack. Feraligatr is a little tough because it needs so much water, so Magnezone isn't as good of an attacker, but Feraligatr's ability, combos kind of well with it. So do you think that Magnezone can, have that additional effect with these other Stage 2 decks?
I think most of us are treating Magnezone as more of a draw engine than a Stage 2. Like, we really aren't thinking about it as a Stage 2 all that much, just because in testing it's proven to be a pretty solid draw engine. But as an attacker, it lacks at times because obviously it's a very special Pokemon. It requires a lot of things to go. The deck can be built very specifically. But obviously it's a great Stage 2. It's
goes 150 for 3.
Argue that it's the best Stage 2 available. Yeah, really good.
I'm not personally a fan of having a big Magnezone just sitting there not being able to attack. Like, I like to have the option, and especially because the attack is so good. But I feel like if I'm going to run a Magnezone, then I want the option to attack with it and have some kind of, way to have it attack and maybe get out of the active spot. You're going to see reversals and Dawn Pins and stuff like that.
I don't think anybody should build Magnezone without putting lightning energies in the deck. It's that simple. It might not be your main attacker, but if you're going to have it in your deck, you might as well have it attack. Because it's really good at one-shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, or at least at worst run rainbows. But yeah. What was the question again? I wasn't paying attention when you asked it.
Do you think stage 2 decks are viable aside from Typhlosion and Emboar? And which one?
Yeah, you just gotta go with Prime Time. It's the only one. That's Magnezone Beyond Mega. It's okay. I mean, it's not great, but it's not bad either. It gets handed to it by Donphan, but that's just the weakness of Magnezone. They just can't beat Donphan ever. So it's okay.
So so then the water decks, such as Feraligatr and
Water
Samurai,
decks can't even beat Donphan that often. It's sad, like how good Donphan is. Like, and against fire too. But the Drongin, what is it, Delibird?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Delibird.
Hey, it's good. It's good. It's good.
I forgot it existed. Like, I realized.
Santa Claus? What?
Dude, Delibird's Delibird is.
That's it. It draws cards and you attach to it. Right?
You're still holding on to that from the coin flip game with George
Yes,
Archie.
I am. Yes,
It's a present to your opponent when you flip that over your own first.
It is Delibird's my boy.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think there's a lot of stuff that's unexplored still. I mean, you guys said there's a limited card pool, but it hasn't all been explored yet, I don't think. I mean, a card like Tyranitar, there's definitely potential for that to go somewhere, but nobody's really tried that hard to make it work. I think there's plenty of cards that have potential, so I think there's a chance we could see some deck we haven't heard of come out of nowhere and do well at Nationals, but as of right now, I don't know what that would be.
I think it's been very easy.
You think Tyranitar is good, but do you think Tyranitar is going to be good if Donphan's still prevalent?
I think.
I don't think Donphan matters. The Tyranitar. I mean, it has 150 HP. Donphan does 120. You have to. God, how many plus powers? Double plus power? Yeah. You have to double plus power every Tyranitar.
And eventually you're going to be able to get a Donphan with triple energy, I would assume.
Well,
I mean, if you're
should be able to hurt it pretty good, right?
If you're playing Tyranitar, you're probably going to take into account that Donphan's popular.
Yeah.
You're going to have a way to answer for it. Not like you're just stupid and running a straight Tyranitar deck.
I don't know. Round 1.
Crim's deck, baby. Crim's deck.
It's like deleting Apprentice's Tyranitar deck right now.
Didn't take that into account.
I think it's very easy to look at a deck and say, oh, this loses to this common card, and just dismiss it. Like, you look at Feraligatr and you think, well, yeah, Mega just one-hit KOs it every time. Or you look at Tyranitar and you say, oh, Donphan, got the weakness advantage. But I think that's part of what the deck building experience is finding a way to overcome those weaknesses. As it's always been.
Got to find a way to dominate.
Okay. I'll agree with that. We have another question. The other question is, we were just talking about, Dialga being, such a hard deck to play and everything. What do you think was the hardest deck to ever play in the game? Ever in the history of the game?
It's easy.
Yeah.
You lock. That's by far.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, not even close.
That's the easiest question we got. Next one.
What's after that?
Dialga.
Dialga?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think
Probably Dialga.
I go. My tier is like.
Maybe.
What's that? Mulock, then Dialga, and then maybe Guardian Mirror back in 06. Just that matchup.
You know, 08.
Or whatever. It's been a while.
Were the Murkrow decks any hard to play back then?
No. It was easy. It was like, I can attack for free because my Honchkrow has energy.
Wait, what? No, we're thinking about...
We're talking about Murkrow from, Wizards of the Coast, buddy.
Oh.
Look.
No, that was easy, too, because you're just like, I lock a baby with Slowkings, and then I just flip until I win.
I think Unlimited was pretty tough, actually. Unlimited was very difficult back in the day.
Yeah, it was.
I think the game's a lot easier compared to...
I think it was only difficult because you were like, oh man, I did 40 damage. Yeah. My Electabuzz, you look at Electabuzz and you're like, wow, this card is a piece of crap. But back then it was like, oh my god, on a flip I do 40 damage. This is like the greatest
Oh,
thing
dude, it
ever.
was a pretty broken card.
And then you're like, Hitmonchan, vanilla 20 for 1. You're like, oh my god, this card is terrible now. But back then it was like, whoo, 20 damage. Oh.
I played 3 Jungle Ciphers in my States deck this year, so.
What do you guys think is the most broken deck ever?
Ever?
For Alligator, baby.
Broken? Tournament legal?
Are we talking like unlimited or like eras?
It says ever.
Not unlimited.
Are we
but,
including
I
MD
mean, I would
on?
assume a tournament legal format.
Are we including MD on for the Battle Road format? Because I think we already experienced that.
Yeah, that's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
I would put Guardy up there in the 08 season. I mean, that deck dominated the whole season.
It only dominated because of time restrictions, though. If you play Guardian a straight-up game, it wasn't actually the best deck. It wasn't even the top tier deck. I mean, like, if in terms of like all the matchups, it wasn't the best.
What?
Yeah.
It lost to Empoleon, I think, actually.
It lost to
Yeah, I mean, it did.
Empoleon. It
Yeah.
loses to Magnetar Leafeon. It loses to a lot of
It
things.
did not.
Yes, it did.
No,
Yes,
no, it did not.
Yes, it did.
I played that deck more than anybody. Trust me, it did not beat Guardy.
What deck?
Regardless, you never even get
Leafeon.
a chance to play against Guardy during Swiss. You didn't. Games ended at like 4-4.
Yeah, it was broken.
Yeah, it was broken under those time constraints.
All right. Anybody want to add on to that? Drew, maybe.
No.
All right. We're gonna have one last
Hold
question.
on. I want to think about this. I think a lot of people say SP decks were broken. Just they dominated like 2 or 3 years. Like, just look at how often Luxray was like in the winning decks.
It was good. They were good, but I wouldn't go so far as to call it broken.
By the way, I think everybody's wrong, and I think the Slowking decks of the past were the most broken decks ever.
Yeah,
Oh,
those,
man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
World 2002 was pretty bad.
It was pretty bad.
I mean, you had Lantern at XO. Shit.
Light Lantern.
Yeah. Did you guys see Eric eat a card?
Yeah, he ate that
Yeah,
lantern.
he was
didn't
like, if I lose to this Lantern deck, oh my god, I'm just gonna eat a Lantern. Comes out of the play area, guys. I lost. Here you go. Enjoy.
All right. So, anybody else want to add on anything? Kyle?
I think Blaziken in 04 is pretty broken. That was a dominant deck for the whole year too.
That was RS days?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people are mentioning that
I wouldn't call it
our
broken.
format right now is exactly, or very, very similar to the RS days. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's pretty similar.
I think it's only similar because, like, you have Blaziken again.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, that's like the only thing that's similar about it. You have that deck.
It's
Big
similar.
fire.
I think it's a little different because the supporter draw is a lot weaker than it was back then. Back then we had
Sure. Oracle,
Yeah.
baby.
Oracle
Yeah, we
was
had Oracle.
ridiculous. And that really opened up the door for a lot of decks to be viable. I mean, every deck could be consistent just by adding 4 Oracles.
Yeah.
But I can kind of see how it's similar, yeah.
It's only similar because of Typhoon Ninetales. That's it. It's like the deck
Yeah.
concept is similar. And, yeah. Oh, and Resham does 120 for 3. Just like Rayquaza.
By the way, another potentially most broken deck ever was the turn 2 decks, I think they were called, with Root
Manisham.
Teleporter and Power Hand Extension and all that stuff. Those decks were broken, man. Those decks
Yeah,
were
that's pretty good.
really good.
Madisham was pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
so anyways,
that, yeah.
the final question that we have for the night is do you guys think there's any way to eliminate the luck factor that you mentioned earlier from things like baby flips?
No.
I mean, how exactly you get, like, there's no way to, like, take cards out of the format, so no, you're just gonna have to deal with it.
Well, if you take a
So
shot,
you're saying that you have to run the babies, that there is no supporter draw engine that's going to get you out of, potentially having a baby that you start with a lone baby and it gets turn 1?
Well, even if you do that, that's not going to prevent someone else from running babies, which